We're talking about Macron, President Macron, Emmanuel Macron's state visit. He turned up today at Northolt Airport with Brigitte, Madame Macron, and there was the characteristic display of a lack of affection as they got off the plane.
Well, there wasn't any sort of...
They didn't have a punch-up this time, so things are improving. The relationship is obviously getting warmer. No fisticuffs, but he went apparently as they were coming off the plane down the stairs, he went to sort of hold her hand, and she went, sort of swung away.
It's a very
all
odd...
is not well with that.
It's a very odd relationship, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
It makes the French-British relationship look like it was a holy matrimony of the highest order.
Somebody said to me, "Oh, is the state visit? Is Brigitte Macron coming?" I said, "Of course she is. That's what these state visits are for. They're for the wives, and of course the husbands. You know, but you know what I mean. I think the women enjoy these things more than the men."
Camilla looked magnificent today. Did you see her in her green dress?
Did you?
I'm a big fan of Camilla, actually. I know there's controversy over the history, etc., but I think she makes the king happy.
She certainly does,
yeah.
And I think comes across. I mean, I'm not a sort of massive royal enthusiast, but she comes across as a what's the word? A really kind of friendly presence.
Yeah, no, she always got a glass of red in her hand.
A warm
sort of
and
receptions.
Also, she's got fantastic, huge, posh woman's hair, hasn't she? Massive. You know,
my three favourite royals actually were all women: Catherine, Anne, and Camilla.
Gotta love Anne. And of course,
I'm going off subject, aren't I?
No, my favourite royal is Prince Andrew. What's not to like?
You know we're live on radio.
That's a joke, folks. What's to like more than the point?
You are so bad.
Right, let's seriously. Now, the backdrop to this visit is, of course, Starmer's latest desperate plan, which is this one in, one out. Basically, his plan now, having inherently admitted that the smash the gangs strategy is a total disaster. If it was a success, why would he be scrabbling around looking for other solutions? Yeah. So he's now saying, look, we'll give you an illegal migrant, and we'll take in return for you can give us a legal migrant. Yeah. So in other words, his solution is, France and Britain playing swap the foreigner. Only theirs will be legal, ours will be illegal. Well, there's a couple of problems here. First of all, the European Commission, backed by Italy, Spain, Greece, Malta and Cyprus, they've written to the European Commission to object, and the European Commission has indicated, yes, they don't believe that France can do a unilateral deal with Britain about this. Britain would have to do a deal with the EU, not France. So there are technical problems. But also...
So again, it's why didn't we sort this out when we did our EU deal 2 months ago, rather than waiting to find this out now?
Because it's just
incompetence, sheer incompetence.
It's just desperation. It's just grabbing at straws. And so how would this work? Look, on the off chance it even ever gets off the ground, which I don't see. I don't see it ever happening. In what way? How would that solve the migrant crisis? Our migrant crisis is numerical.
Yeah.
So if you're swapping one for one, in fact, the chances are, they say, that the ones that we get back from France probably will have family in tow.
So there'll be more of them over time.
So numerically, we're going to lose out. But even like for like, one in, one out, that doesn't solve the crisis, does it? That means we have the same number of foreign migrants here.
Well, I'd say probably more. One, because you've just suggested, the migrants that France will sending us will have family. So at the beginning, the early stages, it'll look like we're just getting the men or the women, then their children and their relatives will follow, which inevitably happens. And also, I'm completely unconvinced. What's going to happen to the ones we send back? Are France going to lock them up in some sort of prison or reservation? Or will they be back on the beaches, within a month or a week or a day, coming back over?
It's a really good point. It's a really good point, because the ones that we are supposed to accept will ostensibly be legal.
Yeah. Their situation will be sorted.
Yeah.
The ones we send back to France, their situation will not be sorted. It won't be resolved for them, those migrants we send back, they'll want to come back to Britain.
But I think probably the most significant factor that means this is a non-starter is the fact that these 5 countries, Italy, Spain, Greece, Malta and Cyprus, all on the kind of front line of the Mediterranean migrant crisis, have written to the EC, the European Commission, to say, well, we don't believe that France can do a unilateral deal like this, and it looks as if the European Commission has agreed to that. But if you think about it, the fact that Starmer is kind of frantically chasing this deal, this agreement, he is inherently admitting that the £400 million that he's thrown at the Smash the Gangs Border Security Command has been a total waste of money. He is inherently admitting that his last plan, the one he came up with a year ago, Smash the Gangs Border Security Command, hasn't worked.
No. Well, I would be perhaps a little bit kinder towards him than you, Kevin, on this occasion, and say that there probably isn't one single policy that's going to solve this problem. You may need multiple policies. But what I think we do need to say is that the numbers since he launched Smash the Gangs are up. So if it is making any contribution at all, and I don't think it is making any significant contribution, the overall effect is that compared to Sunak's time in office, which Starmer heavily criticised, more people are illegally breaking into our country across the English Channel than before Starmer was elected. And why wouldn't they? They look at Starmer and they see a weak Prime Minister. They see an incompetent Prime Minister. They're not stupid. They know that basically Labour is the party of immigration.
Yeah, and last week alone, 2,599. That
2,000.
That adds up. And that wasn't every day, by the way. They didn't. I don't think they were only on Saturday. None on Sunday either. So 2,599. We worked it out. That adds up to around about £140 million cost to British taxpayers over the next 12 months, over the next year, because each one of them costs £40,000 a year. So in 1 week alone, £140 million worth of expenditure right there on those small boats, and all he's ever been saying is smash the gangs, which is now becoming a sick joke. He should stop punishing himself by saying it.
I'll tell you who's the most sick joke to. There'll be people watching this programme now with all sorts of issues, but just for one issue currently in the news, children with special needs in school. Their parents are currently being told we can't afford to look after your special needs child anymore. But what they see on the news is that more and more migrants are coming over and put in hotels. And that's what's driving the British people mad, is that they're seeing migrants given all the help that they need, and their own children are being denied special needs education, or their own, fathers and mothers and grandfathers are being denied, basic pension benefits. It's like we care more about people coming into our country from overseas than we think about people already here. That's what drives the British people mad. The British people are fair-minded people, but when their sense of fairness is offended, as this policy offends them, they're angry, and justifiably so.
They talk about, there's no one simple solution to this migrant crisis. I mean, I know it's... I just sort of reject the concept that it's that complicated. I mean, if somehow or other we did manage to start turning them round, the boats in the middle of the channel, that would be a pretty simple way of solving this crisis. Once the message gets out, you don't get across the channel, they'd stop coming. Another, shall we say, rather less dramatic way of sending a serious message to these migrants, in my view, I just discussed this with Rod Liddell. Why don't we stop giving them legal aid? Yeah. So when they get here, you say, all right, you say you're an asylum seeker. OK, you want to fight your case to stay? I hope you've got lots of money, because we're not paying for it. Well, I mean, that is...
Put them in tents. Yeah, I've got nothing against putting them in tents.
But the maddest...
Why in hotels?
The maddest thing, though, is of all the gifts we give them, 4-star hotels, we give them £50 a week benefits, free food, free doctors, free dentists, and then the maddest thing, and plus all the presents.
And wigs, we learned last week.
Wigs, trampoline lessons, driving lessons, trips to the zoo, cricket trips, you name it. But the maddest thing we give them is free lawyers to fight their case to stay. That's just insane, isn't it?
It's almost as if the people behind that policy are the lawyers.
Well, you know, this is what we start.
There's a lot of people in Britain. Most British people lose from this policy. Let's be absolutely clear. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Yeah.
But there are quite a few powerful vested interests in Britain who do make a lot of money out of the migrants coming into our country. And one of those vested interests that makes a lot are the lawyers. So if you ask the question, why do we not scrap legal aid for these people? Well, there'll be a lot of lawyers who'd lose a lot of money if we did.
And, you know, Parliament, from the top to the bottom, is always predisposed to be nice to lawyers, to come up with solutions that involve lawyers, because most of those idiots in the Commons are lawyers as well. We just started the show, actually, with Rod Liddle. You'd be interested to get your take on it, apropos of what we're just discussing. Hitherto, this country has been given £47 million a year to immigration lawyers to fight cases to keep asylum seekers in the country. Labour's solution is, well, what we need to do is give these people more money.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's
shocked me.
So that's gone up to that's gone up to £61 million. So they've given an extra £14 million to immigration lawyers. Sarah Sackman, who's the Justice Minister. I know, me neither. This is what she said. This sums it up. It's unbelievable. I just read this to Rod. This is the extra money to lawyers. This will help us support the immigration system. In immigration, the new government is serious and ambitious about ending hotel use and increasing returns. This can only be done with the help of legal professionals, which is why supporting the capacity of that sector is crucial. So there you go, a way the government's come up with to give immigration lawyers more money to fight the cases for asylum seekers to stay. Again, how do you think that might solve the migrant crisis, Tim?
Well, it's not going to. There's a word I would like to use at this point, Kevin, but it's a family programme, and I'm going to restrain myself.
Yeah. We should have, do you know what we should have in this show? We should have a 1 minute every hour where we're excused family viewing consideration.
An X-rated.
I think the audience would like it.
There could be a sort of little red button that you press if you want the X-rated version of the Kevin.
Well, exactly right.
Well,
yeah, which is what happens in every ad break, mate. Yeah, we get these WhatsApp voice notes from our audience, and they're all great, but a great many of them are not really broadcastable.
Some are quite fruity, I imagine.
Yeah. Their names for Keir Starmer are imaginative, put it that way. Tim, always a pleasure to have you on board. Come back again next week. That's Tim Montgomery, reform luminary, political commentator.